There was something in his tone that made your stomach clench with guilt, even though you had done nothing wrong. It was just coffee, just conversation. How was your day? You asked, deflecting and trusting. He pushed off from the banister, moving towards you with that predatory grace that always made you hyper-aware of his presence. I had lunch with some colleagues from hospital fundraiser. Dr. Kim's name came up. Your heart stopped. Oh, apparently he's quite taken with you. Several people mentioned seeing you together this afternoon at Cafe Luna. The words hung in the air between you like an accusation. You felt exposed, caught in a lie you had never actually told. It was just coffee, you said, hating how defensive you sounded. Just coffee, he repeated, stepping closer. Close enough that you could smell his cologne, could see the dangerous glitter in his dark eyes. With a man who sent you flowers this morning and had been asking mutual acquaintances about your marriages. My marriage. You echoed weakly, specifically how happy you seem, whether there were any cracks in the foundation or not. His voice was soft, but there was steel underneath. Imagine my surprise when I had to assure them that my wife is perfectly content. While said wife was across town having intimate conversation with another man. It wasn't intimate, wasn't it? He was so close enough now that you had to tilt your head back to meet his eyes. Tell me, Ryan, what did you discuss over your just coffee? You opened your mouth to respond, but no words came out, because the truth was, it had felt intimate somehow. The way Seokjin had looked at you, really seen you, had made you feel like a person rather than a carefully constructed image. I see, Jungkook said softly, reading your silence correctly. How interesting. He stepped back and you immediately felt the loss of his proximity like a physical ache. Dinner will be ready in an hour, he said, his voice returning to its usual professional tone. I trust you'll join me. We have some things to discuss. As he walked away, leaving you standing alone in the foyer, you realized that your arrangement had just become infinitely more complicated, and the most terrifying part was that you weren't sure which man's attention affected you more. The one who had made you feel human, or the one who had been looking at you like you were something precious and breakable that he would no intention of letting go. Dinner was a minefield. Jungkook had changed into dark slacks and a black button-down shirt, the sleeves rolled up to reveal his forearms. He looked casual, relaxed, even, but you could feel the tension radiating from him like heat from a furnace. The dining room felt smaller somehow, the long mahogany table creating an intimate space despite its size. He had the staff light candles, and the flickering lights cast dancing shadows across his face, making him look both beautiful and dangerous. Wine, he asked, already pouring rich red liquid into your glass. Thank you, your voice sounded steadier than you felt. He settled into his chair and you noticed he had chosen the seat closest to you rather than his usual position at the head of the table. The proximity made you hyper-aware of every movement, every breath. So, he said, cutting into his teak with deliberate precision. Tell me about Dr. Kim. There's nothing to tell. Humor me. His tone was conversational, but his eyes were intent. What do you find so fascinating about him? You set down your fork, meeting his gaze directly. Why does it matter? It was just a conversation. Because, darling wife, he said, the endearment rolling off his tongue with a possessive that made your pulse quicken. Everything you do reflects on me, on us, and when my wife is seen having a cozy coffee date with another man, people talk. Let them talk. We know the truth, do we? He leaned back in his chair, studying you with an intensity that made you feel exposed. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you've developed feelings for the good doctor. The accusation hung in the air between you. Part of you wanted to deny it to reassure him that your arrangement remained purely business, but a larger part, the part that had felt alive for the first time in weeks during the conversation with Seokjin, rebelled against the preassumption. And what if I am? You said, lifting your chin defiantly. Our contract says nothing about my thoughts or feelings, only my actions. Something flickered in his eyes, surprise perhaps, or admiration for your boldness, but this was quickly replaced by something much darker. Careful, Ryan, he said softly. You're playing with fire. Am I? Because I thought I was having coffee with a friend. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Friend. Is that what you call a man who looks at you like he wants to devour you? Heat flowed to your cheeks. You're being ridiculous, am I? He stood abruptly, moving around the table to stand behind your chair. His hands settled on your shoulders, thumbs brushing against the sensitive skin at the base of your neck. Tell me, Ryan, when he touched your hand, did you think of your husband? Even a little bit? Your breath caught. How did it make my business to know everything that concerns me? And you, my dear wife, concern me greatly. His fingers tightened slightly on your shoulders, not painful but definitely possessive. Do you enjoy it? His touch? You should have lied. Should have told him it meant nothing, that you felt nothing. Instead, you remained silent, and your silence was answer enough for him. His hands still on your shoulder. When he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of a threat. Stand up. Something in his tone made you obey without question. You rose on unsteady legs, turning to face him. He was close enough that you could see the gold flecks in his dark eyes, could feel the heat radiating from his body. Look at me, he commanded. When you met his gaze, the intensity there took your breath away. You are mine, Ryan. Mine by contract, mine by law, mine by choice, and I don't share what's mine. I'm not a possession, aren't you? His hands came up your face, thumb brushing across your lower lip. You signed a contract that gave me rights to your time, to your presence, to your image. But somewhere along the way, I decided that wasn't enough. Your heart was racing now, fear and something else entirely waiting in your chest. What are you saying? I'm saying that the terms of our arrangement have changed. His other hand settled on your waist, pulling you closer until your bodies were almost touching. I'm saying that the thought of another man touching you, wanting you, makes me want to burn the world down. Jungkook, I'm saying, he continued, his voice dropping to a whisper as his forehead touched yours, that somewhere in the last month you stopped being a business arrangement and became something entirely different. Ryan, the confession hung between you like a bridge you were both afraid to cross. Your hands came up instinctively to rest against his chest, feeling the rapid beat of his heart beneath your palm. What does that mean for us? You whispered. His smile was sharp and predatory. It means, darling, that the rules have changed. It means that you belong to me in the ways that have nothing to do with the contracts or arrangements. His thumb traced your jaws, sending shiver down your spine. It means that if Dr. Kim or any other man tries to touch you, or tries to touch what's mine, I'll destroy them. The threat should have terrified you, should have made you pull away, demand to regenerate the contract, insist on maintaining the professional distance you had started with. Instead, you found yourself leaning into his touch, craving the possessiveness in his voice, the claim in his eyes. And what if I don't want to belong to anyone? You asked, but your voice lacked conviction. His smile widened, and you realized he could read the truth in your expression, in the way your body responded to his proximity. Then you shouldn't have signed your name next to mine, he said, lowering his head until his lips were a breath away from yours. You shouldn't have let me see you laugh, you think, see you shine. You shouldn't have made me want you more than my breath. The kiss, when it came, was nothing like you had expected. It wasn't gentle or tentative. It was claiming, possessive, a declaration of ownership that filled and left no room for doubt. His lips against yours, with the same intensity he brought to everything else, demanding a response. You were powerless to deny. Then he finally pulled away, and you were breathless, dizzy from the rush of sensation and emotion. No more coffee dates, he said, his voice rough with want. No more friendly conversations with men who want to steal you away from me. No more pretending. This is just business. You should have argued, should have insisted on your freedom, your right to make your own choices. Instead, you found yourself nodding, lost on the dark promise in his eyes. Good girl, he murmured, pressing one more soft kiss to your lips. Now finish your dinner. We have a lot to discuss about our new arrangement. As you returned to your seat on unsteady legs, you realized that your comfortable, predictable prison had been just became something far more dangerous and far more compelling. You were no longer just playing the role of Jeon Jungkook's wife, you were becoming it. And the most terrifying part was how much you wanted to. The change began subtly. First, it was the floor every morning you went and woke up to find fresh arrangements in your sitting room, not the generic white roses Yukjin had sent, but carefully chosen blooms that seemed selected specifically for you, deep red peonies that matched the flush of your cheeks. When Jungkook looked at you a certain way, delicate pink cherry blossom that reminded you of your first conversation about your favorite season, white gardenias that filled the room with an intoxicating sweetness. You don't have to do this, you told him one morning over breakfast, gesturing towards the latest arrangements, purple orchids that were somehow both elegant and sensual. I want to, he replied simply, not looking up from his newspaper, but you caught the small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Then came the gifts. A first edition of your favorite novel bound in soft leather with your initials embossed in gold. A silk scarf in the exact shade of blue you had mentioned loving. Diamond earrings that caught the light like captured stars. This is too much, you protested after the earrings. But your fingers were already touching them, reverently. Nothing is too much for my wife, he said, and the way he said my wife made heat pool low in your stomach. The most significant change, however, was in the presence. Jungkook had always been an imposing figure, but now he seems to occupy every space you entered. He worked from home more often. His office doors opened so he could see you pass by. He joined you for lunch instead of eating at his corporate office. He found excuses to touch you, a hand on your lower back as you walked, fingers brushing yours as he passed you a cup of coffee, a gentle touch to your shoulder when he said good night. Each touch was innocent enough on its own, but collectively they created a web of intimacy that left you constantly aware of him, craving his attention even as it overwhelmed you.